Welcome back to God Maths. This is where mathematical literacy begins. Today we will look at word problems and the linear equations. But before we get started, let's check out the solution to our previous assignments. These are the solutions to the previous assignments. And before we get started with today's lesson, remember to subscribe to this channel for more video lessons. Now let's get started. We are going to learn how to generate linear equations from questions that are put in the form of statements. Let's take our first example. When 6 is added to a certain number, the result is equal to 4 times the number. What is the number? What we have to do here is to generate the linear equation from this problem, and then when we solve that linear equation, we will have the number. Because we don't know the number, we are going to represent it by a variable x. Note that when 6 is added to that number, so when 6 is added to x, the result is equal to 4 times the number is x. So in our solution, we will have when 6 is added to x, and that gives us x plus 6. We have x, then we add 6, so 6 is added to x. And the result is equal to 4 times x, which is the number. So 4 times x. Then we have to solve this linear equation either by balancing or by grouping of like terms to get the value of x. And so we will have x plus 6 is equal to 4x. In grouping like terms, we will move 4x to the left hand side to become negative 4x, and then positive 6 there to become negative 6. This will give us negative 3x equal to negative 6. We divide through by the coefficient of x, and we have x is equal to 6 over 3, which will give us 2. So the number is 2. Let's take our second example. Kofi is twice as old as Amma. If Kofi's age in the next 2 years will be 8 more than Amma's age now, how old is Kofi? Note that in this example, we are dealing with two different variables because we have to get a variable for the age of Kofi and then get a variable for the age of Amma. So let x represent Kofi's age and y represents Amma's age. Then from the question, we are told that Kofi's age, which is x, is twice Amma's age, which is y. Twice means 2 times. So from this, we will have x is 2 times y, and that will give us x is equal to 2 times y. This gives us x is equal to 2y. Now let's move on. It again says that if Kofi's age in the next 2 years, Kofi is x years now, so in the next 2 years there will be an additional 2 years, which will make Kofi's age x plus 2, and that will be 8 more than Amma's age now. Amma's age now. Now, how old is Amma? Amma is y years old. And so 8 more than y. 8 more than y. That means 8 plus y. Or you can say y plus 8. And that is equal to Kofi's age in the next 2 years. So that gives us 8 more than y. Now, this is one equation, and then this is another equation. From equation 1, we have x is equal to 2y, which means wherever we see x in equation 2, we can put 2y. And then we will have, when we put 2y here, we will have 2y plus 2 is equal to 8 plus y. This is a linear equation that we can solve either by balancing or by the grouping of like terms. So we have 2y minus y, 8 minus 2. Y is equal to 6. What is y? Y is Ahmed's age. But the question is asking us to find Kofi's age now. And Kofi's age is x. So from equation 1, x is equal to 2y. That means x will be equal to 2 times 6, which will give us 12. Then we will conclude that Kofi is 12 years now. We will take a more complex example. A man is 7 times as old as his son. 3 years ago, the man was 13 times as old as his son. Find their ages now, and then find their ages in the next 4 years. In this question too, we are dealing with 2 different variables because we have the man and then we have his son. So let x be the man's age, and then let y be his son's age. Let's go back to the problem. The man's age is x, his son's age is y. And then x is 7 times y. So we will have x is equal to 7y. Then 3 years ago, the man was 13 times as old as his son. Remember that if you are 10 years now, then 3 years ago, you were 7 years, which is the 10 minus 3. If you are 15 years now, 3 years ago, you were 12 years, which is 15 minus 3. So if you are x years now, then 3 years ago, you will be x minus 3 years. So we will say that 3 years ago, the man's age will give us x minus 3. Then the son's age is y minus 3. Now when we continue, it says that 3 years ago, the man's age was 13 times as old as his son. So 3 years ago, this is the man's age, x minus 3. And that is equal to 13 times his son's age. His son's age 3 years ago was y minus 3. And his age 3 years ago was x minus 3. Now, the first equation and the second equation can be solved to get the values of x and y. And note that we need 2 equations to solve this because there are 2 different variables. Now let's solve the 2 equations. From equation 1, x is equal to 7y. So wherever we see y, wherever we see x, we can put 7y there. And so let's put equation 1 into equation 2. And that will give us 7y minus 3 is equal to, this will give us 13y minus 39. We have done equations that involve brackets. So let's group like terms to find the value of y. we will have 7y minus 13y, negative 39 plus 3. This will give us negative 6y equal to negative 6. We divide by the coefficient to get y is equal to 6. So which means that his son is 6 years now. Let's find the man's age. The man's age is x, which is put y equal to 6 into equation 1. And that will give us x is equal to 7 times 6 because we have 7y, which will give us 42. Therefore, the man is 42 years now, and his son is 6 years now. That is I. Then II. In the next 4 years, that means 4 will be added to the man's age. 4 will be added to his son's age. So, in the next 4 years, the man's age will be 42 plus 4. That will be 46 years. And the son's age will be 6 plus 4. That will be 10 years. So in the next 4 years, the man will be 46 years and his son will be 10 years. We will take another example. Example 4. If 4 times the smallest of 3 consecutive integers is added to the largest integer, the result is 112. Find the 3 integers. Before we can solve this problem, we must understand integers. And an integer is a positive or a negative whole number. Now, let's look at how you represent 3 consecutive integers. Since the difference between consecutive integers is 1, then it means that if our first integer is x, then our next integer will be x plus 1. And the following integer will be the second integer, x plus 1 plus 1, which will give us x plus 2. So our 3 integers are x, x plus 1, and x plus 2. And then we will have, let the 3 integers be x, x plus 1, and x plus 2. And we want to find these integers. We can get them when we have the value for x. So the question says, if 4 times the smallest of these integers is added to the largest, 4 times the smallest is x. So 4 times x. If this is added to the largest integer, what is the largest integer here? X plus 2. So if we add it to x plus 2, then the result is 112. And we are supposed to find the value of x. We will use the grouping of like terms. So this is 5x and it is equal to 112 minus 2. So 5x is equal to 110. We divide by 5 to get x is equal to 22. Then when we put that value here, we will have, therefore, the consecutive integers are, our x is 22. Then the next one is x plus 1, which will give us 23. And the next one is x plus 2, which will give us 24. If you still find it difficult in solving the linear equation, you can refer to our previous video. Then we will take our assignment for this lesson. this is our assignment for this lesson. And that brings us to the end of our lessons on linear equations. If you still encounter any difficulty, you are always free to contact us via our WhatsApp numbers provided on the screen. Before you sign out, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and then share this video with your friends. In our next lesson, we will look at indices and logarithms.